Each year in June, the attention of the automotive world is focused here, and the manufacturer who enters his cars plays for high stakes. Of recent years, the standard Triumph team from Coventry have been regular visitors. Their target, not the outright win reserved for the large capacity specialized racing machines, but the opportunity to win honor in their capacity class, and above all, to demonstrate and develop high-speed reliability. Their 1965 entry, 4 Triumph Spitfires in the 1150cc Grand Touring class with aerodynamic hardtop bodywork. The engines, basically as those in the Stage 2 road-tuned Spitfires, but with the 4-port cylinder head intended for subsequent production use on the 1300 saloon. Altogether, 51 entries were accepted. The pre-race drama had centered on the strongest ever challenge from America. 5 of the Carroll Shelby-inspired Ford-powered Cobras, and the official Ford America entry, built incidentally in Britain, 2 7-litre GT prototypes backed up by 4 more 4.7-litre versions. Their declared intention to beat Ferrari. Curiously enough, the prancing horse of Modena exactly matched them numerically, with 3 official CFAC entries and such redoubtable privateers as North American Racing Team, Maranello, and of course the Belgians. From Germany, the Porsches. From Italy, Alfa Romeo to back up the Ferraris. With the Triumphs in British Racing Green, the Austin Healys, and Pride of France, the French Alpines. As the pre-race tension mounted towards its climax, an almost unnoticed ceremony recalled the tragic past. It is 10 years now since the Le Mans disaster. Competing for the first time on equal terms with the reciprocating engines, the Rover BRM gas turbine for Graham Hill and Jackie Stewart. Reputedly built in less than a month, the 5-litre Maserati and the Chevrolet-powered Iso Grifo. The discerning crowd had plenty to see, and there were plenty of them, estimated at over 400,000. And by no means the least enthusiastic student of form was Standard Triumph's managing director, Sir Donald Stokes, though from his gestures, what the young French driver Dubois was explaining is anybody's guess. So, as the countdown runs on towards 4 o'clock, the meticulous routine of final preparation is completed. The experience of years and the drawing board and workshop effort of many months have brought 4 Spitfires to the line. Now it's up to the drivers. David Hobbs and the Dutchman Robbie Slottermarker. The Swiss Jean-Jacques Tunner. And the Finnish ice racing champion Simo Lampinen with reserve driver Roy Fiddler. The Yorkshiremen Peter Bolton and Bill Bradley. And the French pair Piot and Dubois. Well, none but the brave deserve the fair, and they seldom come fairer than that. Soon it will be every man to his mark. But who'd be a marked man with that lot around? The pre-start atmosphere at Le Mans has no equal as the clerk of the course sets off on his final tour of inspection. Chris Amons first away in the Ford 7-litre, followed by Bob Bondurant, Bruce McLaren and Surtees. first time through the S's. 2 Ford GTs and 2 Works Ferraris. And watch for the Cobra on the outside line. Colin Davis, with the 8-cylinder Porsche, the only man left on the line, finally gets cracking. On the Triumph pit counter, the shortest directors' meeting in history is broken up in less than 4 minutes. The first lap order, it's McLaren and Raymond Fords, Surtees and Guichet Ferraris, Bondurant Ford, Rindt Ferrari, Gurney's Cobra, Siffert's Maserati. At the S's, the 7-litre Ford GTs are pulling away from the Works Ferraris and the battle is joined. The NART Ferrari of Gregory and Rindt lets the leaders go. Full bore past the pits and the leading Spitfire is Robbie Slaughtermarker's. Dumais' Ferrari leaves after the first pit stop of the race. The 2 Healy Sprites are formating line abreast. Peter Bolton carefully watches his replacement engine fitted overnight, and in the S's, small private wars behind the leaders. The class pattern begins to emerge, with Alpine, Spitfire and Healy now running in close company. The Cobras of Joe Slesser and Jack Sears, Wrottesley's Elva BMW, Trantignon's Ford, Rodriguez Ferrari. Peter Harper with the Filippinetti Cobra sees the yellow flags out for Siffert's Maserati, spun at Tertre Rouge. And the Alphas are one short, with Zaccoli stuck in the sand at Mulsanne. Joe Siffert gets the Mazda round to the pits to retire, and Baghetti's race is also over, as the new Dino is pushed away with the rev counter telltale showing an astronomical figure. And here's the first Alpine pit stop, Masson's as Tunner's Spitfire rolls by, and Dubois watches for co-driver Pio. The Triumph pit quickly settles down to the job of team control. 3 stopwatches per car, every lap timed, and the drivers responding with unflurried and regular 100-mile-an-hour laps. Masson's problem is clutch slip, and the team leader of the Spitfire's principal rival is in trouble, as Bruce McLaren in the leading Ford sets a blistering pace. Already the quick boys are lapping the small fry. That's the Sears Thompson Cobra, and Peter Harper, number 59, has lapped the Iso Grifo, number 3. Now it's the Porsche's turn as Rodriguez closes on Minga with Maston Gregory's Nart Ferrari and Dumais' own 250LM in close pursuit. Pio on the French-crewed Spitfire, if anything, slightly quicker through Mulsanne. Arnage, again a slow corner, though perhaps a little faster than Mulsanne and with a less hair-raising approach. Again, poor Roger Masson calls at the Alpine pit, but misfortune strikes at Triumph too, and Peter Bolton's replacement engine succumbs on the Mulsanne straight. Meantime, McLaren and Raymond on the leading Fords have made their first routine pit stops. Surtees and Guichet have taken the lead for Ferrari, and Surtees retains the wheel of number 19 after refueling. The pits warm up. Here's the 1600cc GTZ Alpha of the Luxembourgers Couve and Finkel. And now it's the Spitfire's turn for replenishment as John Lloyd calls in his leader. Jean-Jacques Turner is quickly out of the seat and immediately joins the conference between drivers and pit manager, which are an essential part of the well-ordered routine. Pump fuel from the common supply. Safety and the regulations closely watched. At Le Mans, no more than 2 mechanics can work on the car at any one time. Each has his appointed task. Fuel can be taken at any time, oil or water only after 25 consecutive laps. And now it's Simo Lampinen's turn to make his Le Mans debut, and like every top-line rally driver, he's safety belt conscious. A slick piece of teamwork is completed, and the car is off in well under 2 minutes. But already the second Spitfire has been called in from the signalling area at Mulsanne, and Robbie Slaughtermarker duly brings in number 52. Again, seconds are saved by the carefully worked out routine. And no matter how brilliant the drivers and how good the car, it's the pit crews who spell success or failure at Le Mans. David Hobbs leaps into action, and coming from a racing rather than rallying background, is less conscious of his braces. Now it's the French boy's turn. Pio, a young enthusiast, was given his chance with Triumph the previous year, but his partner crashed late in the race from fume poisoning. Naturally, he's keen as mustard for this, his second shot. And no one complained when he brought along his fan club. The official plan beurre reseals the filler cap. A broken seal means instant disqualification, and it's chocks away. You see what I mean about the fan club. Already, the Ferrari grip on the race tightens. After their first pit stop, the big Fords were never to regain their lead, and the Chris Amon Phil Hill car has fallen right back. The Gurney Grant Cobra now becomes the focus of American hopes. Even the Porsches are feeling the pace. And the Rover BRM has had to have the wick turned down a bit. Number 18, Rodriguez Ferrari, and Joe Sless's Cobra get into a long duel for 7th place. But down in the S's, there's never a dull moment. Paddy Hopkirk in the NGB number 39 reckons this is the only interesting spot on the circuit. But now the McLaren Miles Ford is in gearbox trouble. In the Alpine pit, Monneret displays commendable calm in all this excitement, and quite right too, for 24 hours at Le Mans can be a long, long time. But suddenly there is excitement in the Triumph pit as Dubois brings in number 54 to an unscheduled stop. At once he reports high oil temperature to John Lloyd. Harry Webster, Director of Engineering, is on hand. In short time, the oil cooler is removed, a fracture diagnosed, and Chief Mechanic Ray Henderson receives his instruction. Thanks to the instrument vigilance of the driver, no serious damage is done. A further final check, and the car rejoins without any disastrous loss of time. Consolation for anxious dad from Harry Webster's young daughter Jean, and explanation from Peter Bolton to Bill Bradley, who never even gets his hands on the wheel. Simo Lampinen ties his boots reflectively. It can be a long walk back at Le Mans, reserve driver Roy Fiddler has the time, but do they have the inclination? This time a scheduled stop, but it's just as well that Tunner has a clear conscience with all those cops around. Number 52, the Hobbs Slaughtermarker car, and the drivers confirmed. During the whole race, they are together for only seconds at a time, if all goes well. As Robbie rejoins the race, David Hobbs explains the situation to his mother, and the French boys come in for their scheduled stop. Dubois reports that the replaced oil cooler seems perfectly satisfactory, but he's not sorry to come to the end of an anxious shift. Round about 10:30, after 6.5 hours racing, dusk, and already 13 cars of the 51 that started have fallen by the way. Again, misfortune for Triumph. In the treacherous darkness of the 120-mile-an-hour dog-legged White House, Robbie Slaughtermarker was over-generous with his dip switch for a passing car. Result, a Triumph written off and a driver lucky only to be shaken. Meantime, by midnight, with the race only 1/3 through, the Ford challenge had been shattered by Ferrari. Mike Parks was leading from Bandini, Rodriguez and Settis, and the Sears Thompson AC-entered Cobra was 5th. By dawn, the casualty list had mounted to 24, almost half the field, and there were only 2 Ford-engine cars still running. But time lost at the pits had played Old Harry with the leaderboard, and the works Ferraris were under pressure from the private entries. The Lumpin and Tunner Spitfire was sounding crisp as ever. All the class leads were being hotly disputed, and the Dubois-Piot Triumph was still on the same lap as its teammate. The hard core of enthusiasts were early astir, but there are still 10 hours to go, no less, and it is wise to conserve one's energies. The time for reveille varies from tent to tent, but in the pits there is still no rest, and never has been. Now the Dumais-Gosselin 250LM Ferrari has a 2-lap lead on the North American Racing Team 275P2 of Rinton, Maston, Gregory. Meres and Berlis are 3rd, and the chilly morning shudders with anxiety. Dubois is more than ready for his café complet, but first there is serious work on hand. The refueling is a matter of seconds, but once again Dubois reports oil trouble to Ray Hendon. Another replacement oil cooler is called for, and it is at times like this that good mechanics are worth their weight in gold. The official plombeurs preserve an icy neutrality. But in the nearby Alpine pit, things are warming up with a vengeance. With the oil cooler safely replaced, it's as well to give the transmission and brakes a quick check, because these rarely take a beating at Le Mans. In the pits, cleanliness is next to godliness, but out on the circuit, 3 Ferraris battle desperately for the lead. Meres chases Rindt, and Rindt now has the leader Dumais in his sights, while the leading Porsche is 5th. The Rover BRM, classed as a 2-litre, has built up only a 5-lap lead on the Spitfires. Both Triumphs are still virtually on the same lap, and the pit reports everything under control. The MGB 1800 of Hopkirk and Hedges has stolen 1 lap on the Triumphs, and the 3 now split the Alpines. Paddy, of course, will have a go with anyone. The 2 Healy Sprites are also well up on their individual schedule as the crowds begin to flock back for what to them is the second day, and shows every promise of being a fine one. Now, even the GT category, which must have looked a cert to the Cobras, is firmly in Ferrari hands, and Willy Meres gets a signal he's been watching for. The Dumais Gosselin number 26 and the Rindt Gregory Ferraris are ahead and fighting for the lead. But it was Mike Parks, number 20 in the surviving Works Ferrari, who threatened Meres's 3rd place. Suddenly he slows, and the battered Sears-Thompson Cobra too seems on its last legs. Meantime, the 4-litre 4-cam Works Ferrari, on which John Surtees and Scarfiotti had broken the Ford attack and dominated the first half of the race, is pushed away to try and find room in the dead car park. The Alphas too, which had shown such promise, now run into serious trouble, and Paul Hawkins Healy, number 49, has to make a long stop. So does the Rindt Gregory NART Ferrari number 21, now setting off 2.5 laps down on the leader. Dumais and Gosselin, 2 comparatively unknown drivers with number 26, their privately entered 250LM Ferrari, find themselves in the lead and set for victory. In the Triumph pit, it's business as usual, as Tunner takes over Spitfire number 60 once again from Simo Lampinen. For the Spitfires, the race is by no means over. Their rivals in the 1150 GT class, the Alpines, are still very much in the hunt. And now, sudden disaster for the leader. A tyre punctured on the Mulsanne straight. Dumais drives the car to the pits, and after desperate efforts to clear the damaged bodywork, roars off, but now only seconds ahead of Maston Gregory. John Lloyd, unconcerned by this dramatic battle for the lead, with now but 3 hours of racing to the checkered flag, calls in Jean-Jacques Tunner, who shows not the slightest sign of fatigue. Again, the ordered routine of servicing. But as the mechanics get down to it for brake and transmission checks, they have more spectators than they'd bargained for as the radio cameraman of French television closes in. Simo Lampinen's last spell now. But as the Spitfire once again accelerates away, Dumais has had to stop again, and the Gregory Rindt Ferrari snatches the lead. Now Willy Meres reckons he might be second yet, and with a GT car. But the Porsches are poised, and the Ferrari of Mike Parks and Jean Guichet follows its teammates to the paddock. So every car which had made the running in the first 12 hours is pushed away. The French-crewed Spitfire in for the last time. On the pit counter, Harry Webster's face betrays the strain of the responsibility he carries. And now Lampinen brings in number 60, and he too is showing signs of wear. The tension of those final hour pit stops has to be seen at close quarters to be understood. With so much effort behind them, success so near but still tantalizingly as yet still out of reach. All's well, at any rate, with the Tunner Lampinen car. And Jack Sears is still limping on with the sole survivor of the Cobras. There's still plenty to reward the student of form, and the leaders are still flashing up the pit straight at 150 miles an hour. But British eyes in the grandstand are focused anxiously on the Triumph pit. A wave of excitement, and this is what they come to see at Le Mans, a fitting reward for such tenacity of purpose. One minute to 4, Paddy Hopkirk the leader at Mulsanne. The Maston Gregory Jochen Rindt Ferrari sweeps on to victory, 2 miles an hour quicker than Dumais and Gosselin Ferrari number 26. Third, the GT Ferrari of Meres and Berlis, ahead of the Linger-Nocker Porsche and its teammate driven by Koch and Fischava. Then come 2 more Ferraris and the gallant Sears and Thompson Cobra. But only one Healy finishes, Paul Hawkins and John Rhodes. The Iso Grifo is still a runner, and so is the Rover BRM gas turbine of Graham Hill and Jackie Stewart. In all, only 14 cars of the 51 that started take the checkered flag, and 2 of them are Spitfires. The leading Spitfire covers 2,282 miles in those 24 grueling hours. Tunner and Lampinen, Dubois and Pio are first and second in their class, and indeed 5th and 6th overall in the Grand Touring Car category, an achievement of which Sir Donald Stokes and everyone associated with the Spitfires at Le Mans may well be proud.